what's up?
Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.
So what's up, everybody here in YouTube land? I'm still trying to update how the look goes. Trying to, because I want a little bit of there we go. All right, there you go. The donut shop's in the background. Got to show the donut shop a little bit. So yeah, I'm over here on YouTube. So everybody on Instagram that's watching, or if anybody's watching on Instagram, head over to YouTube and catch me over here. But I'm going to end it now. All right, we're over here on YouTube now. So what's up? I think I got Sparky in here. What's up? Sparky says, "Morning, glad to check. Donut Shop podcast. Nice to finally catch a live event. Yeah, for sure, man. Not out ripping 50s on the highway today, I guess. No donuts on my plate. Me neither. I just finished my breakfast. What do I got in here? I got some Blackout coffee. You can go over to Blackout Coffee and use code, I think DSP10 for a discount if you want. Good coffee. And it's out of Florida. So yeah. What's up, everybody? Oh, hello, Juliet. How are you? It's been a while. What's up, Jerry? Good morning. Missed you last week, Jerry. Did you catch the live last week, Jerry? Sparky and Juliet might know each other. So yeah. So what's up, everybody? It's been a good week. It was my short week for work, so lots of non-work related stuff. Even though I think yesterday was my final honor guard event. I did a colors presentation. Our new amphitheater in the city was grand opening. Again, not mentioning what city I work for, but there was a grand opening, and I did honor guard, the colors presentation for it. And at the end of it, I was like, wait a minute, I think this is my last event for honor guard. So that's kind of crazy. Barring any sad events that the honor guards needed for. So I'd be fine not doing another event again if it meant no sad events. Poor Jerry did not watch last week's event. Last week's live, I kind of did a quick wrap up of my trip to Istanbul and Munich for Oktoberfest. Talked about that. So if you didn't catch it, jump over after this one and give it a watch. Just kind of told some quick stories and went through with that. And then I talked about the open carry law in the state of Florida that just kind of came out. And so I'm going to do a little follow-up today on that, as well as, just talk about some of the interviews that I did this week. I did 2 shows this week. So yeah. Oh, here we go in the chat. We got Sparky and meeting the famous Jerry Worms. So yeah, there we go. Making friends in the comments section. This week I did 2 podcasts. I interviewed some guys through StreamYard, some cool guys out of Virginia that run in different aspects of it, but run a firearm shooting competition for law enforcement officers. So as law enforcement officers, a lot of times we have, high pride and we want to look good, and we want the public to think that we're the best tactically, the best shooters. But one thing that we, may not be is the best shooters, be it for, many, many different things. So it's good to, I think shooting competitions are helpful to help with practice, to help with, shooting under stress and accuracy. And then with their competition, since you're a law enforcement officer, you're supposed to bring your duty gear. You're not supposed to bring some tricked out competition gun or something like that. So they, so it's good. So you get a little more proficient. You get a little bit of different style sometimes than what you're doing in training. especially if your trainings are just shooting at a target and, qualifying, and then you move on to other, other aspects of training like driving and defensive tactics. So their competition's called Battle of the Badges. And for us in South Florida, there's one coming in November to the West Palm Beach, or to the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office range up in West Palm Beach. So, any officers locally in South Florida that want to get into it, it's pretty cool. So I got to check my schedule. I think I'm available. So I think I'm going to try and get up there, maybe compete, because it's something that I want to do going into retirement. Next year is, get involved in some of the, the firearm shooting competitions, just because I won't be going to the police department range anymore. I won't be practicing there, or qualifying there. So if, it gives me an excuse or an opportunity to get out and shoot and practice, because I'm still in my day-to-day life going to carry a firearm, for personal protection, that kind of stuff. So competition shooting is a way to stay involved in that community. So, so the, so yeah, so that was a good interview. That'll come out in, I think in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That'll come out in 3 weeks, because I have three. I have a bunch of episodes on tap. Then Friday, I did an in-person interview with two guys, another pair. I rarely do three people on a podcast, but it seems like I've been doing those lately with Parlor Donuts, and then the StreamYard over the air interview, and then now this in-person one with these guys that own a company called Semper Veritas Training. It's a law enforcement and, veteran, and I think civilians can take the classes too. They offer training right now. They're in Coral Springs for 2 weeks, and then they'll be up in, I think, West Palm for 2 weeks. And they offer a whole bunch of courses, a whole bunch of courses that, and who they are, for those of you in the chat that may know them. Rick Sessions, former homicide detective from Lauderhill and Broward Sheriff's Office. He's one of them. And then a guy named Zach Scott, which he's still currently active, so I will not name what law enforcement agency he works for. But it was a great interview. A couple good stories, a couple crazy stories. They were good. So I'm in the middle of editing that one right now. So yeah, the Parlor podcast. Yes, Bart. Last week's episode that dropped, I had gone to Parlor Donuts before I went to Germany. I went to Parlor Donuts and did an interview with them, with the owners of Parlor Donuts that's in Fort Lauderdale. So yeah. So and then this week dropping is a guy named Eric Spears. He worked for Broward Sheriff's Office, or Broward County, as a bailiff in the courts, and then he went to the federal penitentiary, or the U.S., the federal prisons. He went to work in the federal prisons for 15 years. He was down here in like the Miami area. He was a union president, did a lot of, fighting for his co-workers, but ultimately got in the sling kind of, and got fired. So, and he still to this day, or as of recording, did not know what his main charge was, which it sounded weird to me. And I tried to press him for it, but he just says he doesn't know. He just knows all the subsequent charges of like dereliction of duty and stuff, like when they were trying to do the investigation and he wasn't participating and all that kind of stuff. So all that's in the podcast. And then he names a lot of people in the podcast. He throws a lot of stones, but so that's dropping this week from him. So I got a full slate coming out of podcasts that I've recorded. Feels good to have a bunch in the in the hopper ready to go out. That's kind of the plan, with my days off, and then with upcoming, stuff. It's always good to get stuff recorded, because like I missed 2 weeks while I was in Europe. I didn't record anything, and I didn't have anything, so I just said, all right, well, I guess I'm not going to air any podcasts. So this is the fun stuff. All right, well, check this shirt out. First reveal for me coming out, Back Jack. So it's like a law enforcement shirt, and Anti-Cancer Cancer Club, a buddy of ours that we've met through social media. Those of us in counterculture, Jerry Worms to be included. I've met this guy Jack. He lives up in Wisconsin. He was a police officer. I think I've talked about him before. He was a police officer for not long, but developed leukemia, and so he's been battling leukemia, and and so he's kind of watched through Instagram and social media, and sort of found our buddy right there, Jerry Worms, found our buddy Jerry, kind of as a figurehead, as a social media icon now, through our boy Mike from Copville. Jerry, so Jack wears like a Jerry Worms shirt whenever he's getting treatment, just to kind of keep him strong and work on his willpower. But Jack's an awesome dude, and he's chill, tries to work out, lift weights and everything, tries to stay healthy, while chemo and all the poisons are trying to beat up and destroy things in his body. So we hope the best for him in his fight. And he's got there's an Instagram account that kind of chronicles his journey. His parents work on the Instagram account and post there. And they just this was from a shirt run that they did. I bought a shirt from it. There was, high praise on the shirt, and I like it. It's a good shirt. So they're doing a second run. So I'll share the Instagram story and the link about the new shirt run. It's the same shirt, but the person who does it kind of does it for fundraising. So they take all the orders, and then when they close it, then they'll fulfill all the orders. They don't it's not like a company where they fulfill them one at a time every time an order comes through. So it's just kind of like a campaign. But yeah, so check it out. I'll share it in my Instagram story. But otherwise, like, the Instagram's called Back Jack's Fight. And maybe I'll try and put it in the description here, if I can remember, and go into the live, and I'll drop it in the description of this, since I'm talking about it and trying to advertise it and get eyes on it. Because then any of the proceeds go towards helping him out, because he's obviously not working if he's battling leukemia and fighting through that. And he was early in his career, so he didn't really have much vacation time or anything like that. So I can't confirm or deny, but I don't think he's working anymore right now, just because he kind of can't, because he's got these, long spells where he's got to check into the hospital and go for treatment and that kind of stuff. So hopefully Jack's doing all right. Jerry says he talked to him last night. We all kind of try to reach out to him from time to time, just say what's up. We're thinking about him. So he's a good dude. So yeah, that's that. I wrapped up the little giveaway for a holster and a Zyn tin, for lack of a better term, the smokeless tobacco pouches that I had from some of the recent guests. They hooked me up with some stuff to do a giveaway. So I did that last week, finished that up. So I got to package those things up and mail them out today, I'll mail them out tomorrow, Sunday. So what else is up, everybody? I did say I was going to mention, last week I talked about Florida's open carry law. So Florida open carry law, just a recap, even though the two of you are either current police officers or former police officers, the open carry law was sort of struck down by an appeals court in Florida, or a circuit court in Florida, something like that said that it was unconstitutional. And I mentioned last week, because I'd been away or out of work for 2 weeks, I was like, oh, they've definitely trained the guys on this. but turns out they haven't or hadn't. So what did I get? I think it was Monday or Tuesday when I got one of the first or second day I was back. We got training, so I was happy that they delayed and waited for me so that they could teach me about it. One of the interesting things that I learned in that training was that Florida is the 47th state in the union to get open carry. So we're kind of late to the game. Either everyone fought against it because they knew because Florida man was going to Florida and it might make it weird. But, you know, other than District of Columbia, which isn't a state, uh, California, New York, and Illinois. So New York, California, Illinois, three of the most, barring conversations like Oregon and Vermont, three of the most blue Democrat sort of legislatures, houses, probably Supreme Courts of their state, all have allowed it open carry in some fashion or form. Florida didn't. Florida only had concealed carry with a permit for many years, and then a couple years ago granted constitutional carry, which basically said everyone that's not a felon allows us to carry a firearm, but concealed. And then with certain stipulations of places that you can't go into, like federal buildings, schools, higher education, that kind of stuff. So, so I found that super interesting that Florida was so late to the game in allowing it. So it's like, I mean, you hate to say everybody's doing it, but everybody's doing it. But again, like I said, Florida's going to Florida. So we, as Sparky brings up, wearing it concealed, I agree. I said that last week. The element of surprise. If you wear it out in the open, everybody knows who you are. They know, Superman always had Clark Kent was his public persona. If he was dressed up as Superman everywhere, then that means everybody's going to want to fight him. A lot of times, bad guys at least. So same sort of thing. I don't believe in wearing your firearm out in the open. The only way you should wear your firearm out in the open is if you have a leather holster and it's a little cocked off the side, off your hip, and you're holding like a long 6-shooter. Like I have a Blackhawk Colt, I think. And, it's got to be you got to look Western. You got to have a cowboy hat. It's the only way you can open carry. All this strapping an AR-15 to your back or a AK-47, you look like an idiot. So, all right. So let's see. So yeah, Jerry says, are you guys getting 911 calls with people walking around open carrying AR-15 style rifles? Yeah, I mean, I'll carry a Colt 45, but that's just, but then Sparky will come and arrest me for open container and not open carry. Boocha. So, but yeah, as Jerry asks, are we getting, so yes, that same very day, I text our training sergeant and said, hey, you might want to turn the radio on because we are living your training class. Where I work has a mall and some, I'm going to call him a social media influencer because we never made contact with him. But someone called, her name did happen to be Karen, but she wasn't, screaming and yelling on the radio or on the phone. She just said, hey, I'm not sure with the new laws, but can you guys check in on this guy? He's walking through the mall with an AR-15 strapped to his back, making noise, and he's with a female who's filming him. So all that says to me is that I want to get on Only in Date or one of these Instagram accounts of me walking around a mall with an AR-15, staring people down, waiting for someone to come up and cause problems. So he probably walked around, got his couple minutes of footage, and they left. Because our officers, they were prompt. They got out to the area. We've got instructions because the mall is private property, so it's incumbent on the property owner or representative thereof. So like mall security or the mall security director, or the director of the mall, to say whether they want open carry. Well, this mall has signs that says no firearms. You know, I'm not necessarily abiding by that. I'm going to carry concealed, but you're not going to know that my firearm's there. I'm not going to bring it out unless there's a dangerous situation, and I'll deal with it at that point and after the fact. If you want to trespass me from the mall when I was about to get robbed or harmed or whatever, and I pulled my gun out. So, you know, our officers got to the area. You know, they were intent on only merely making contact with him, with a representative of the mall, just to say, hey, listen, you know, per mall policy, you can't have an open carry firearm or a firearm in the mall. And you know, and they would just ask him to leave politely. And then, of course, if the guy refuses to leave and all that, not understanding that it's private property, you can get you can get charged with armed trespassing, which is a felony. So that's going to be a problem, and that's part of the things that we have been explained to tell these guys, you know, that are here exercising their constitutional rights. Well, listen, one of those constitutional rights will get taken away if you're a felon. So, you know, try and do it on the up and up and in the correct way. And so, you know, but like I said, the guy was already gone. He, you know, they swept the parking lot just looking for him. You know, it appears that he wasn't up to no good. He was just out to make social media videos, most likely. I haven't seen, they might be out there, the social media videos of him walking around the mall. But that's, in my opinion, where law enforcement right now in Florida is probably having trouble, is those people that are trying to be influencers, the auditors, the people that are auditing, that kind of stuff. I think those people are going to pop up, and they're going to cause headaches for law enforcement, because you're going to have maybe guys like me that were out of town and missed the training and didn't catch up yet, and then now they're thrust into this situation where we're you know, having to deal with you know, someone that's probably focused on 600 YouTube videos over the course of 2 weeks. You know, when someone like me was in Munich, Germany, drinking beers. Um, you know, so such is life, and that's the world that we're living in right now. You know, I've seen some other videos on social media where guys were doing some weird stuff, and then you think, like, I think over in Davie in Costco, which I'm surprised this is the first time I've ever heard of something like that, with the way that the Davie Costco gets, which is a madhouse on the weekends. There was a guy who pulled out a gun during a fight over probably like a parking space, and he ended up shooting this guy's tire. Like, it was just, yeah, well, that guy got arrested, the guy who shot the tire. So let's see here. Here's my question: with the Second Amendment being vague, only acknowledging that a person has the right to bear arms, why are lawmakers so vague about how and where to carry? So I'll put a constitutionalist hat on there. I think what they're trying to do is honor the Constitution by being vague in some of that. I think with the state of Florida, being that they haven't written in the stipulations, I think one of those is because the lawmakers are out of session right now. I think for sure you will see during this session coming up this year, in Tallahassee, which I would love to talk to my friend Danny, who's a state legislator out of Tampa. We had to reschedule that interview. I think they will take the current concealed law, because really what happened is these laws, one of these laws is null and void now with open carry. The carrying a concealed firearm, not withholding a felon, but just a regular citizen, you know, like if you didn't have a concealed weapons permit, you know, 5 years ago, and an officer came on you and patted you down and you had a weapon in your waistband, you could get arrested for carrying a concealed firearm. Well, that law, some of the verbiage is used in like what they came out with this open carry law. So I think what they're going to do is they're just going to take open carry, concealed, constitutional concealed carry, and I think hopefully they hammer something out that everybody can read, that kind of gives the guidelines and the new state law on how people can be charged. Because if I walk onto, UCF's campus with an AR-15 slung over my back, I'm getting arrested right then and there, because you can't open carry a rifle or a firearm on a campus of higher education or a university. Just like if I walked onto an elementary school campus, with technically with a concealed firearm, you just can't do that, for obvious reasons, especially here in Broward County. Um, but I think and then I'll change my constitutionalist hat to a tinfoil hat. I think they definitely have the gun lobby in their ear, when they're working on things like this. And the gun lobby would probably want it as vague as possible. Um, I'll say that vague, but it, you know, I'll say that vague, but I mean, if rules are written out, then at least people know how to understand them. You give us the opportunity as law enforcement officers to make the arrest, and then I'll end up creating case law usually because of it, because it's either a bad arrest or an arrest that judges find interesting, so then they allow it. So then you get certain things. So that's how you create case law. Like Miranda, stuff like that. So what's up, Juliet? She says the Davy Consco incident was illegal discharge of a weapon on private property, not safely, but threatening two people in a vehicle. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. He got arrested for the unlawful discharge. So there was no real purpose or safety reasoning that I think in a legal defense he can explain for firing off a weapon in front of people and into someone's tire. You still, yeah, and of course, in today's day and age, there's video of that Costco incident. Um, I'll end up plunking around too much on this screen, and it'll be a boring live stream, me trying to cue that video up, which I probably should have queued it up, but I didn't know that the conversation was going to go this way. So that's part of the point. So cheers to everybody, and take a sip of coffee. Go grab your coffee. I'm going to disagree with you partially on that, Spark. He says, as a Leo, I do not need a CCW permit, but I do have one. That really only started for Leos in 2009 or 10, I think. Obama got that in place, a national allowance basically for certified law enforcement officers and retired law enforcement officers that have been certified within the last year with their firearm through a department. They do that. They can carry concealed anywhere in the country, barring any places like federal buildings and stuff like that. So he says he doesn't need a CCW, even though he still does have one. Wait, but I do have one, because I have one too, and I'm going to keep getting one, because on September 9th, right when the 2A sales tax holiday came into effect, I went out and bought me a Glock 43X because I wanted to update my personal carry gun, and I didn't pay any taxes on it. Hooah, no tax. So we've got that in the state of Florida until December 31st. And I do plan on making one other purchase right before retirement. But that's for anybody. I say retirement because it's going to be a gift for me. So, so the Department of Agriculture in the state of Florida deals with the permitting process of concealed weapons permits. I do think they will still keep doing it, Sparky, because it still allows you to maintain that you don't have to do the cooling off period for buying a firearm. So that's really the only benefit to having a concealed weapons permit right now in the state of Florida, is that when you go into a dealer, you can buy a firearm and you don't have to wait the cooling off for the 5-day period, which is fine for me because obviously I have firearms that I wear to work. So why should they prevent me from purchasing a firearm and walking out the door with it? So, because you still end up getting your background checks and all that kind of la da 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 da. So yeah, Jerry has the Leosa permit which is when you're retired, you go to your local, like if you move out of the area. I remember my, yeah, that was the same paperwork. That's the House bill paperwork that you pay. So, I think you were saying like what happens to the Department of Agriculture. Well, the Department of Agriculture will still obviously exist, and they're also still the permitting agency for things like your fishing license, any hunting licenses. They're the licensing department for the state of Florida, anyways. Um, you know, do we see a surge in uh, concealed weapons permits for state of Florida? Yeah, I highly doubt that. I don't think there's a run on people getting their CCWs in the state of Florida now that you can freaking straight up carry it out in the open. But I will continue to renew mine because, like I said, then I can get my firearms whenever I want, and I can just walk in and buy them pending cash flow. Uh, yeah. So, which Donnie are you guys talking about? I don't know. Um, so yeah, so that's a lot of gun talk. But it's good to have these kind of conversations, especially on these live streams. I used to do it obviously for my department in community meetings, so I enjoy sort of bringing, although two of you are current or retired law enforcement officers. So, I'm speaking to a few other people, and anybody, of course, that'll listen to this afterwards. I used to do, some of our community engagement with the police department, with community groups, and ask questions because you can't always go. Oh, okay, Donnie Nelson. Yeah, you can't always go to social media and learn that, even though I'm telling you to watch this. you know but you'll find sometimes. Oh, Donnie Harris. Okay, I don't know if I've ever met that gentleman. um so you Google some stuff and you might find conflicting answers or whatever. Sparky's texting me on the side. um yeah, so what else we got? Oh, we worked the arena last night. You didn't break up any of those fights between Tampa Bay Lightning and the Panthers? Those. Oh, I wouldn't know what arena you're talking about, sir. Shit. I might have just outed myself. I'm gonna shut up about that. All right. Any other questions from anybody? We've done pretty good. It's been fun. Jerry, you going out on the boat today? How's the weather up there in Tennessee? Is it getting a little cooler? My buddy's in, where's my buddy? Oh, he's in Charlotte right now for a bachelor party. Charlotte, not a place. It doesn't sound like it's a place to go for a bachelor party. But yeah, that was my bad. But it doesn't sound like it's but they're going to the Dolphins game today because the Bachelor likes to travel and see other stadiums. So set it up for, they set it up to go to the Dolphins away game at the Carolina Panthers. So he's going to that game. So they're up there. No boating today. Yeah, it's getting cooler. Yeah, it's the pain in the butt. You're not in Florida where you can boat 365, barring any hurricanes. When I was up in New York at the beginning of, or at the end of September, when I was up in New York, I was all excited because we were going to this lake, and my cousins, have boats and jet skis and stuff. So I was like, yes, I'm going to do some boating. The Florida guy is excited to go do boating in another state because he doesn't do it here. And the day before I got there, my mom texted me and she's like, oh, they just had the company come and pick them up and wrap them, because up in New York, you get snow, that lake freezes over. So it's not like those boats can even sit near the lake. So they have a company that comes and picks them up, cleans them out, dries them out, and then wraps them and puts them in storage. So they did that the day before we got there. So that was a bummer. But my cousin was telling me, he's like, yeah, and when I looked at the lake, it was full of algae. There was like a big algae bloom. So there was it was not good for the motors or the jet intakes and stuff for the wave runners and everything. So they wouldn't have really advised it anyway. So, but it was a bummer. because I wanted to go out and see the lake and stuff. But we went to Niagara Falls instead. Forget it. So yeah. Speaking of social media, I'm going to gripe about this one real quick. I saw this one headline that made it say it was vague. Said that Canadian residents will have to pay, like $600 to cross the border into the United States, and it was just an inflammatory. Like I read it and I go, oh my God, that's terrible. Like, imagine having to cross, like, if I just want to cross into a country. But what they meant and what was clarified when I read the article was that they, it's for if you are not a Canadian citizen, but you're a resident in Canada that's from another country. So, like India, Canada has a lot of Indian citizens that live, so they're temporary residents. When they cross into the United States, if it's something that they would have to pay normally to get a visa to come into the United States, they're going to have to pay it coming through Canada, even though they're a Canadian resident. So I thought it was very vague. It's just, they're still saying that any of these countries that have to pay visa fees to come into the United States, they still have to pay it crossing the Canadian border. Well, that makes sense. So yeah, it was kind of annoying. Jerry says, are you going to the counterculture event in Philadelphia? Yes, I should be going. Got to talk to the wife about that, even though it's 2 weeks away. But yeah, my plan is to basically going to fly up there Saturday morning, do the event, and then fly out Sunday morning. Just do like a little 24-hour quick turnaround. Counterculture is doing an event just on the north side of Philadelphia. It's a fundraiser, kind of like pasta dinner at like a local benevolent, and we're part of the entertainment. So we're going to do sort of a live podcast setup, almost maybe like a comedy routine. Who knows? We should just do like skits or something like that. Like, right, Sparky? Like we were in the Scouts or something like that. Do some silly like Boy Scout skits. People would throw food at us. We'd get spaghetti thrown at us if we started doing shit like that. Campfire skits. Yeah. So yeah, that's up in Philly. Everybody in Counterculture is sharing the link in the flyer. Little last minute notice, but we were working on logistics and getting some stuff figured out for it. But yeah, heading up there. I think Mike from Copville's going, Tyler from Anti-Hero, Heather from Unfiltered and Unfazed, Good Cop, Bad Cop. Just Good Cop's going to be there. I don't know if he's found a bad cop yet to replace Mike Dowd, which that's good because Mike Dowd loved to hold the microphone and talk. So at least maybe somebody else will get a chance to talk this time. But, so yeah. I should be there barring any domestic with the wife, which I don't think is going to happen. Oh, thank you, Sparky. Justin, you're such a jet setter. Jet 2 holiday. Thank you. That would be my first ever super chat, Sparky. Thank you very much. It's a Jet 2 holiday for sure. When that's the plan, man. I got the travel card, and I got the travel card. So now we'll get some points and cash them in, get some free flights, travel the country, travel the world. Maybe this podcast thing will take us around, and I definitely I'll still talk about it. I'll keep putting it out into the universe. Next time we go to Ireland, I know an Irish police officer, so I plan on doing an interview with him when we're in Ireland, and he's going to show us around a little bit, County Kerry. So looking forward to that. My buddy that I did the Icelandic police officer interview, he's going to be down here this week in Florida. He's going to a concert, and he's going to go to the Keys. He's going to go to Orlando, all this stuff. So he's going to drive by on Thursday, and I'm going to meet up with him. I told him, I'll be working, so you can let me know when you're passing by, and I'll come out to the highway and meet you, or do a traffic stop on them, or something like that, or just meet them in a parking lot and say what's up, take a couple pictures and say hi, and then let them get on their way to the Keys and visit. So the Icelanders are coming to Florida, so I'll see him. So it's it was it's cool, man. It's cool. So rest of the day I got going to F45 in a little bit, the 10 o'clock class, get the workout, and then we got some more editing to do. I got some change the air filters in the Tesla. Yes, we do have some maintenance we got to do. The cabin air filter, I try to change it once a year, keep it from getting funky. What concert is he attending? It's a concert at the Palm Beach Amphitheater, whatever the hell it's called now, the old Coral Sky. It's I forget what concert. I think it's his daughter wants to see whoever's playing or whatever. It's a national recording act. They're going to see that, and then they're staying when they're in Orlando. They're going to stay with a friend of theirs at their house, and they're probably going to the parks and stuff. And then whatever the hell they're going to do in the Keys, they're going to visit the Keys. So, yeah. So, and then grocery shopping today. Got to go do the groceries. But yeah, long week coming up, man. 4-day week. I'll look it up. Oh, concert. You're going to go stalk my Icelandic friend Hilmir and say what's up. Ask him where his Star Wars costumes are. Not a police officer anymore. But yeah, thanks everybody for checking it out. I think I'll start to wrap up today and get ready for the week. Appreciate you guys. It was fun chatting. I'm glad you were able to catch a live Spark. And Jerry and Juliet, thanks for coming over and checking out the show. All right, guys. See you later. Have a good one. Don't forget to finish your coffee. We'll end this out.
Calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.